Welcome back to the Modern Creative Podcast episode. Jeez, I don't even know. We're like 5 minutes into this conversation, and I realized that this freaking thing was not recorded. Today I am with Jesus Martinez. He is a San Diego-based DP and cinematographer who specializes in documentary work and commercial work. Jesus, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Let's do this again.
It's hilarious.
Jesus, we're at your studio right now. First of all, congratulations on having a studio, because I know that takes a lot of finances to even have a studio. How are things going with you as far as business goes?
It's been good, man. I launched to finally go freelance last year, and it was slow with the whole concept of me I should get a studio, especially because I have two little girls at home and like a 4-year-old and 3-year-old, and it's impossible to edit sometimes or get.
It's impossible for me with just my wife working there and no kids. I can only imagine 2 little kids out there running around asking for your attention.
Dude, they're amazing, but it's hard to work. So I convinced my wife. I'm like, dude, I need to get a working space. So I found this spot, and I figured I could put one of it, since it's like 2 rooms on Pure Space, and
beautiful. And how's that been working out?
It's been all right. It doesn't really turn a profit because, and this is where when I first left to freelance, I spent so much time in this, building it out, painting walls, and I'm already 2 months in, and I'm like, dude, I haven't even tried to get work. I need to figure this out.
I mean, I'm assuming you have this already on Pure Space, all the socials.
Yeah, so I did for the first month, I did do some kind of intro to studio vertical reels, kind of stuff for Instagram, and that did give me a couple followers. But just putting the space on Pure Space, and it's cheap, it's affordable, and people just pick it up. So kind of it's making me want to get a bigger space and see how that works. But again, then now my time is going to be split into marketing a studio and marketing my business, and then the freelancing.
It's a lot of hats for one individual, man.
It's a ton of work, man.
Speaking of work, Jesus, let's go back to when you first picked up a camera. Tell me, how did you get into the creative space? Were you always a creative from the jump, like I always usually say, or did it just come about last week, 2 months ago, a year ago, when, like you said?
Man, my story is kind of weird and long, I guess. But I used to skate, and that kind of got my first interest into photography. And I never really thought you could have a career out of it. So I ended up getting a camera from a friend, took a photo class in college, and my teacher was so cool. Mr. Chavez, he was super most inspiring person because he liked my work and would always talk about it. But I even told him straight up, I don't think I can make a living out of this. He's like, oh, you can shoot weddings. I'm like, I don't want to do weddings. So I was pursuing administration of justice. Life happens. Crazy things happened to me, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do what I like. So I started trying to get gigs, photographing people. And then I saw one YouTube video from Evan Raff that mentioned he lost a gig because he didn't know video, and I'm like, I should learn video. And now I just do mostly video.
Do you still take on photography gigs here and there?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't really market it because I'm trying to separate my work. So yeah, I was just shooting a convention, like you saw. I did stills for that. I'll get some portrait work here and there, but I'm finding better budgets, at least when I do video.
Right.
So I'm trying to kind of keep all my feed in video. Sometimes I'll put some creative portrait stuff.
I feel like being a sole photographer, freelancing, and just strictly photography, to me it sounds like, I don't know why it in my brain is impossible to make it financially, because you're charging what, I don't know, I'm guessing what, $300, $400 a session, maybe $600 on a great day. Again, depending if you're doing studio work or if you're doing portraitures or actually corporate stills. That's why to me it never made sense in my mind to focus on photography as far as making money. That's why I was first of all, I just like video more, and I figured video has a lot bigger budgets.
Yeah, I mean, photo I'd say, but it's it's a different road too. I mean, everything we do, there's no roadmap for what we do, right?
Yep.
We're just all here kind of
figuring it out.
Figuring it out. And it just works all of a sudden. I've been freelancing or doing it as a side gig I was originally. And I was like, man, I don't get repeat clients. I don't get this. Now I'm getting repeat clients. It's been good for me. But I'd say for the photo space, right? I know people that do family photography, and they're charging $400 for 1 hour.
Nice.
And they'll knock out 2 of those in a day sometimes. That's a solid $800. Probably 2 hours to edit at the most. That's a chill day, right? You're probably not landing those all the time, but then the people, I know this person that she goes an extra mile and does prints. So now she's selling the prints, she's selling the rights. She's much more extensive and within the family space. And then weddings, of course, that's where the other money comes through. But in stills, the like, and pretty much kind of everything, I'd say most of the money is in commercial work, because that's when you'll be getting those like 800 day rates to just go cam up for stills, or 1200 or even higher, depending who you are, right? How good your work is. So it's kind of like a little bit similar, but you know, I see more gain in filmmaking.
And when you thought about, all right, let me just start doing filmmaking, what kind of clients were you pursuing, or what were you attracting?
Man, I was shooting everything. And I still sometimes just take, if I like the project and it's fun, I just take it. I will never post it.
But, I have a lot of those in the vault.
Yeah, half the time, right? Right now, it's like, if it pays, great, I'm there. If it pays, good. If it doesn't, I'll think about it. And if it's, you know, it's out of, I mean, I've had some really weird inquiries where I'm like, nah, I don't think I could do this.
And what do you love to document?
I don't know. I love a lot like interesting stories. You know, everyone has a story to tell, and I love getting to capture those, the emotions. I don't know if you saw, I did like a short film recently about the subject who her husband passed away riding a bicycle. And now she's working to change the laws in San Diego, because after all her extensive research, like there's so many things that could have prevented that and can prevent future death. So like stories like that are so impactful and powerful. Like I love doing that stuff.
The lady that you were documenting, how did they react to your film?
She loved it. She was happy with the results, and it was a hard subject, and I had never filmed anyone that has dealt with death. Right,
super sensitive.
Yeah, it was nuts. I personally couldn't even relate, because I never really had a loved one passed away. So from the beginning, I'll mention I had a Zoom call with her, and I told her straight up like, hey, look, I can't relate to you in this sense. So if by any means I'm doing anything that's maybe weird, or like I'm not being considerate in some sense, like if I ask you to like maybe a question or something, just let me know. Like full confidence. I'll show you the edit. I'll show you everything before it even sees the, you know, anyone can see it.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty clutch for you to even have that kind of conversation with them, because I would have never thought of, I mean, I probably would have, but I wouldn't have gotten extensive, like, hey, like I've never experienced this kind of thing, because like, I don't want to put too much information out there. But like, I feel like being fully transparent with the people you're working with is a goal to strive for.
And yeah, I mean, it's so touchy. Like the biggest part, like I learned so much from this piece, right? Again, I've never hit anything that emotional, like that deep. Like there was times where she was crying, you know, and my subject would start crying, and I wanted to, like, my instincts, like I should hug her, or like I should, you know, say something, but I can't. I have to stay quiet, and I have to stay quiet and film this, because yeah, maybe it sounds selfish or so, but in the end, me filming this will have a better, higher impact on her story than saying something.
How long did it take you to produce this, from the pre-production to the production and post?
Oh man, it wasn't that long. What took me longer was finding a good story. And I'd say I'd have this in the back of my head since I went freelance and I had more free time. And I'm like, oh, I need a good story. So I started going through like the San Diego magazine. I think I bought it. I actually subscribed to it because I just want to go through it and see what's going on in San Diego. And I found her story there. And I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, you know, she lost her husband and she's still like joined a nonprofit and trying to like push these laws. Like that's very heroic. Mm-hmm. So that's how I found it. So from the moment I found it, I opened like a Millinode, probably spent a couple hours, maybe took like 2 days, like thinking, what could I get from this story? Like
this is before you even made contact?
Before I even made contact. Yeah. What can I find in this story? And I kind of like created an arc in a sense, right? Like, okay, she's married. He rides a bike. He passes away. She's now fighting for this. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now I got to figure out what will happen in there. So maybe interviewing her in the house. And then we'll see what other things can happen. Maybe I just have her tell me the story throughout there. So then I actually originally I tried to get, you know, funding paid for this film, reaching out to the nonprofit, but because they didn't have any video work. And every time I'm like, dude, you guys have zero video work. I found the story, would love to connect. Of course, they're like, we have zero budget. I'm like, all right, I get it. I would at least love a connection with her. Maybe she's interested in sharing the story, because from, you know, the beginning, I wanted to do this regardless. And yeah, they connected me. We got into talking about this, and she told me, oh, we're having, they were putting up flyers about in places where people had died due to car accidents. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. She's like, come here and film it. So that was the
There's
first
like no
day.
hesitation on her end at first, like no, like oh shit.
She
Okay.
wanted to go on a Zoom call to kind of see what I wanted out of this, right? Like it's kind of weird. Well,
It makes sense on her end though.
100%.
I mean, you could be exploiting her just for your portfolio if you wanted to, if you wanted to be a dick like that, which assuming you're not. But
right, and I totally understand. That's when we had the first Zoom call. What do you want out of this? And I told her, hey, look, this is me being transparent, 100%. Never dealt with this. Let me know, and I'll let you have control once the edit is complete. So that's how it went down for me to allowing me to document her. And I filmed her the first day. We did that. I learned a lot about her story. I mean, I captured one shot, which to me was like the most impactful shot in the film, which is like, I already knew, right? They had a son. Her husband passed away, right? And her husband wanted to ride bikes because that was like his passion. He did it every night. And we're probably like 2 hours in. I think I helped her it was like 3 to 4 hours. We're just walking around downtown putting signs up I didn't know how many places. There's so many places where people have passed away due to car accidents.
this is all downtown.
It was like North Park area,
Jeez.
Hillcrest, around there. And there's some streets that I've like driven through them. I'm like, yeah, this thing's like gnarly. Like it's so hard to go through the crosswalk as a pedestrian. But there was a shot where we'd already put up maybe 8 signs, and then a family comes riding their bikes, and it's the mom, the dad, and the 2 kids in the bike. And I saw it, and she looks at it, and in my head I'm like, wow, this is insane. And I filmed that shot, and
I was gonna say, did you capture it?
Yeah. She looks at them like go off, and then I just filmed the whole thing, and then we walked a little bit, and it was in the back of my head like I'm gonna ask her, or I should bring it up. Like feel like this is already very impactful. But she brought it up herself. And I like cut short one of the scenes, which I was so mad about. That was like the first time where she's like starts like kind of like crying, and I'm like, I have to cut. And then I captured the whole moment. But anyways, yeah, she mentioned that like that would have been us. And I was like, wow,
Damn,
this is powerful.
Damn. That's some powerful stuff. When you were documenting this, were you a one-man band or did you have a team with you?
Nah, just me.
Just you.
One man band. Easy rig, FX6, dude. FX6 is amazing for this stuff.
Speaking of the FX6, man, I've been contemplating on deciding on if I want to pull a trigger on that or an FX3. I know we always say that, gear shouldn't matter, but at the same time, it fucking matters.
Yeah.
Especially when you get on set.
Yeah, well, it matters 100%. Like, one of the things that drove me to get the FX6 was this, right? Like, I wanted something that was acceptable in commercials and good for documentaries. I'm a one-man band most of the time, so something that can get autofocus. You can't find that in any other cinema camera. So the FX6 is a great camera. And I had already a couple friends that I knew shot with the FX6, so I knew I could potentially get B-Cam, which it worked out. They did hire me as B-Cam with an FX6. So yeah, I mean, I'd say if you have that, or if your clients will rent it from you, then I think it's a solid purchase.
Okay, it's either between that or the Burano. I don't know.
Oh, man, Burano's insane.
Are you thinking about it or what?
Dude, I would love to, but it's like, how much better can it get my production? If I'd get the Burano, is because people are gonna rent it from me, right? Like I was telling you, I saw this video of a guy breaking down like the money side of owning an area and getting like a loan and all that stuff. And even if you don't rent it within a year, you don't really lose a ton of money if you actually put it into your own personal projects. So I think it all comes down to the money side of gear. Like I've rented my FX6 enough that I've paid like at least a third from what I can count.
Nice.
With this, which is me charging rentals to bring it on set. Or yeah, I've rented it out maybe like twice, like friends.
Yeah.
That I can trust.
I was gonna say, like, how does that work? Because I was also looking into like borrow lenses or share grid, and I did look up FX6 how much they were like renting them for. I think they were going for like 3 to 4 for like a day or a weekend or something like that.
Yeah.
And so like it sounds great and dandy as far as the money wise, but it's like, man, you're giving your baby away to a complete stranger that may or may not take care of it. So I'm curious to know, since you rent your gear out, how that works for you.
So I'm a little more careful with it because I don't know who or how they're gonna treat it, right? So I say it with kind of like I rent it to people that I really trust. With that said, though, I do have full insurance. Like my Sony FX6 out of the box didn't work. It was like bricked. And I called Sony.
Brand new?
Brand new. They didn't believe me. They're like, no, that never happens with the FX. I'm like, well, it happened in mine. And I send it in and they're like, yeah, your like mother chip or whatever, motherboard, whatever. Something was fried. Like I would turn it on, didn't get anything other than an image.
Yeah.
I didn't have menus, nothing. So that already got me scared. I'm like, man, all right, I'm gonna get full Sony insurance out of this. So I got like a 5-year warranty, I think it was. I don't remember. So I paid for that. So now I'm like, cool. If I drop it, whatever, I can get a new one. But then I've been investing a ton in gear, and so I wanted to get gear insurance. So I also got a gear insurance from there. From I think it's Athos, so I could rent it out. Probably shouldn't say the name if I'm not sponsored by them, huh? But yeah, so that's how I feel more comfortable renting it out. I just don't want to deal with the time that I won't have the camera.
Right.
You know, between the insurance and getting paid, and like that's kind of like I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, those are more like major issues, but I'm more referring to because I treat my gear like gold, man. So like if I see a ding or a scratch, like it's gonna like, oh man, you motherfucker.
Nah, I treat my shit.
I mean, it just comes with it.
I treat my gear like shit, man.
Oh, okay.
It's just like no lens caps. I used to give my friend like shit for that. Now I'm like, whatever. It's fine.
When I change lenses, I still like put my sensor facing down. I learned that like a long time ago.
Oh, that I do, because the Sonys are like a magnet.
But I've seen individuals who like pull out while their camera's on, take off the lens, full dust everywhere, put another lens. I'm like, dude, that has to look disgusting. But hey, man, like
I'd say it depends on the situation, all right? But if I'm outdoors, hell no, I'm not. I'm gonna be super fast on the lens swap, and how much time I have on set to do that.
Well, let's get a little nerdy. Let's get this out the way, man. As far as your equipment goes, let's talk about shit. I mean, we could be here all day talking about all your gear, but let's talk about the cameras and lenses that you're rocking right now.
Okay, I have my FX6. It's like my nicest cinema camera. Then I have my FX3, which is like my B cam video. I recently upgraded. I already had an A7 IV, but just to make sure I had a backup safety, so I have got a second A7 IV, and I have an A64 as like my like zoom camera still, and I have like a Fuji X100 for like fun, like I think it's a T. It's an older version.
Nice,
it's dope.
Nice. And lenses. What is your primary when you go FX6 running gun?
24-70.
24-70.
I had the Tamron, but the focus throw is like the worst, and the Sigma is still not the greatest. Still the focus or fly by wire, whatever they call it. It's like electronic focusing, but it's much better and easier to focus than the Tamron manually.
Outside of that, any other lenses?
If I really want that really like creative look, I'll throw like the Helios. I have like the vintage one, the 44-2, something like that, which is really fun to use. I used it recently on this like fashion shoot, which now I thought I would stand up because it's Helios, but now I'm like regretting not renting like actual anamorphics. Or
I was gonna say, have you ever played with cinema lenses like that?
I have, not anamorphics. I don't think I've had anamorphic, like true anamorphics. I've had like the Sigmas, the like DZOs. I've worked with those.
How's your experience been with those?
I mean, they're great. It's not the greatest thing. Like,
see, I from the outside in, because you do more like commercial style documentary style work. I'm still using telephoto lenses. You're using quality to borderline cinema lenses.
They're regardless, even if it's like the cheapest cinema lens, you'll feel the difference. The like number one thing is your focus, right? Your focus is gonna be the same no matter how many times you spin the dial. Like it has a limit, right? It'll stop at one point. And photo lenses, like the ones we've used, like the ones we have right here, they don't. You can just keep spinning that thing and it'll just restart. And you can't use a follow focus. You can't time it when you're gonna do pushes and stuff. So like there's a big difference in that. In image quality, it loses a little bit of the digital that you get from photo lenses.
I always hear like it gives it a character.
So like the character is just like a whole lenses is like a whole new topic. Like like Helios, I can talk more about the Helios since I use it more, but like the Helios, you could put that thing next to the sun and then you'll just get these random flares, crazy stuff. The bokeh will loop it up sometimes depending how far you are and what it is. Mm-hmm. But like when you're looking at like, I've seen comparisons of like Cooks and like, I think the Mikeys. There's some like newer one that you would never expect, and they look pretty darn close. Like where maybe they fall short would be backlit, and the sun just completely destroys your lens. But there's so many things you can do to it.
Yeah, just looking at configurations of how to like rig up my A7S to make it look like as cinema as possible. It's like literally like Legos to me. You could buy so many different pieces which adds up quickly, and then you have to just assemble it together. So I'm trying. The reason why I'm striving to getting another camera is because my current setup right now is the A7S, and then my B camera is the A7 III, which the color matching kind of bugs me. Mm-hmm. I mean, can I make it work in post? Sure, I can, but it takes a little bit more work. So that's why I want something like either an FX3 or an FX6 where we have the same color science for the most part.
Yeah, they're pretty similar in color. It's so much easier. And then, I mean, you have the 10-bit 42.
Exactly.
So compared to the A7 III, I mean, the A7 III was a great camera. I used to still shoot weddings on that for a minute whenever I'd get any, but I mean, I was just so used to it. I shot one a while ago now, but it was on my FX3 and it was night and day. I'm like, wow, I'm never touching the A7 III.
So and the only reason I still have that because it's my second full frame, but like for photos, I love it because the A7S is only 12 megapixels. I flirted with the idea with the A7 IV, but the crop 60 frames kind of like kills it to me, and that's a no-go for me, at least for my kind of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a million ways to approach this, but let's focus back on you. So what are you currently working on right now?
I left. I used to work at an agency, and I was able to grow my network there with like more people working in production. So as it is, I get hired a lot to cam op. I have a couple clients that I DP for, and then I'll gaff for some, like my friends that are DPs. I have a good friend, John. He's a really good DP in San Diego. He taught me a lot when I started and more in production side of things. Cause it's like one man band is like one thing, like you learn to control the light. Once you kind of really understand the light, then you come into the bigger sets and then you see these like, 6x6 magic cloth and you're like, well, what the hell is that? Like, I know it diffuses, but what does it do? Or like you realize there's like 12x12s or even bigger things, but fundamentally is the same thing. So anyways, I feel like I'm going on a tangent.
No, it's interesting.
So yeah, like when I started the agency, I remember I was so scared, dude. We were going to shoot on a red camera and I was like YouTubing everything.
What was your specific role for the agency? Just DP?
Cam op. They called it cam op. It was never really called a DP. When I was there, I was pushing for it to call DP because there was times where I'm literally like gaffing and cam opping, or I would tell like I discussed the look with the director and I achieved the look with my gaffer. So it's more of a DP role sometimes. It just depends who you're working with.
Right. And as far as the agency experience, how was that? I feel like from the outside in, I feel like it makes sense for any creative to want to work for an agency because you're getting consistent work nonstop. At least from the outside in, you educate me.
Yeah, I mean 100%. Like things that are good. I'll start with the bad things, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because this is like what people should be aware of, right? First of all, production days are minimum 10 hours. I did not know that. I did not know that. I was used to my 1 hour shoots, 2 hour shoots, solid, $500 easy days. I wasn't getting a ton of that. So anyways, production days, 10 hours to 12 hours, up to 16 hours if you're in-house for sure. So you got to be aware of that. You're going to be on sporadic, like 3 weeks straight work. You have weekends off, but it doesn't even feel like it because you're on set every day. You're prepping the previous days. Like there's so much stuff that you have to do. And I'd say that's like the only downfall is sometimes you just work a lot. And I was salary, so I didn't really see a big difference, to be honest. But
that's where they get you, the salary.
That's the downside. But that's like any job, I'd say, where your salary. But the pros, man, I feel like I went to film school there. And I got paid to go to film school. Everyone was so cool, man. Everyone was so welcoming. You get to work with other creatives in the area, like, actual people that only gaff. Like, that's their only job is gaffing on other sets. And you learn so much from them. Like, it's so cool. And then we had some directors with a lot of experience, and they kind of share how they, you work with them so much time, you see what they're doing. Like, I remember Chris Francis, he would always look for a catch light. And I was like, damn, I never look for a catch light, like in the eyes. And I'm like,
what is that catch light?
So it's like when the light hits your eye, you get the reflection in the eye.
Right. I'm seeing it now. So,
yeah, so
you would want to not have that.
I want that.
Oh, you do want that?
It would depend on the story. And I can think clearly there's this like last Spider-Man where the aunt dies. She does not have a catch light when she dies. And they did that purposely because it's like you have no soul. And it's weird. You're like, oh, it could be minimal. But when you see a shot of someone, like, right, interview stuff too, and you want them to feel more alive, more good. Like if you want someone to look good, that catch light just pops the eyes.
Interesting.
And it just brings you to their eyes. It's a little one of those little
it's just psychological stuff. It's like kind of like looking up towards a character where it makes them look bigger, and when you point down into the camera, it makes them look small.
Right. It's one of those. And if you would compare, like, your goal is to make someone look good, and you would compare one with catch light, one without, you would see the big difference.
Right.
It's just like that little sparkle in the eye is so big.
I love that you said that you pretty much got paid to go to film school, because the people that I've spoken to that have actually gone to film school, they always say like the best part was just like the networking, but outside of that, like get real world experience. That's where you really going to get educated as far as filmmaking goes.
Yeah, I have a buddy, Andy. He was, man, hardest working kid there, man. He's a kid. He's like my age. But he's a super cool dude. And he was on the fence of going to film school or getting into the agency. He went to the agency. I worked with him the other day. I'm like, dude, you're like solid DP. Because when he started, he was like our grip, whatever, but he wasn't on camera up until I left. Man, he's so good now. He's done, I mean, if you're not commercial 3 times a week and you're lighting it, with 12 lights sometimes, or, you got to make it work with 3 lights. Like you have to learn the tricks. You know?
And with the agency, what kind of work were you guys specializing in?
So I used to work out, it was Raindrop, and we did a lot of like, kind of like funny commercials. Like it wasn't, the intention is to entertain the viewer and kind of have them not realize it's an ad, but like Dr. Squatch, right? Mm-hmm. That's the stuff we would film. So it was really fun. That's on top of it, it was like funny ads. So it was even fun to be on set.
Right. I'm just curious, and I guess you don't have to share it with us if it's a little too personal, but why aren't you with the agency anymore? Because I feel like on paper, it sounds like a freaking steal. You're getting paid to do what you love.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't care. And if you want to ask me financials, I don't care talking about financials. I think we should all be talking about financials. But I was at the agency. It was more of I wanted to be on different sets. Like I want to do other type of work, and I don't have time for it because I'm at the agency. And then I wanted to be able to support my family, so I wanted to make more money, and I knew I wouldn't be able to do it at the agency as a camera operator.
So there's a ceiling.
There is a ceiling, yeah. I at the time there's a ceiling, right? Because if I want, I could look to grow my career there, but my next step is director, and I'm just hoping that one director leaves and I'm next in line. Right, I don't even know where director's at financially there, so it just.
This is assuming everyone loves you. The politics are in order where you're going to be the next in line, the next session or whatever.
Right, and granted, I still have really good relationships with them. Like I was telling you, I just got hired by the CEO, Jacques Spitzer, super cool dude. He brought me onto Google to shoot a convention of his. And so they're awesome. I love the Raindrop people, but for me, it was also like, okay, look, I'm coming to set sometimes. We're doing a decent spot. Like there's a pretty good budget for this. And it's just me and the director and maybe a grip. And I'm like,
damn, for a large budget for 3-man crew, that's crazy.
Dude, sometimes like what the gaffers and no one's available. Or like some gaffer will fall through, and then it's like, damn, what do we do now? Well, let's bring whomever's available, and we just bring a grip that maybe knows how to use a C-stand. Like,
and assuming like a lot of these shoots probably happen very last second, meaning probably within 5 days or something.
Oh yeah, dude, we've had sometimes stuff.
48 hours.
They're like, oh, they haven't even approved talent. Shoot is in 2 days. We're like, what? That's how it. That's just the agency life. Like we're pushing out so much content.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like I was now coming to a point where I'm lighting my whole sets. I'm operating the camera. I'm like, dude, I feel like
I'm way more than just a camera operator.
Yeah, I'm doing way more. I always try to do different techniques too. Like I remember like seeing book lights and aperture, and I'm like, damn, I've never done that. I'm gonna try that on my next spot. So then I tried that, and then I'm like,
oh, that's cool. You get to experiment on not on your dime.
Right, and it was cool because you're like playing with all these gear and stuff, so it was fun. But for me, there was that like, okay, if I can pretty much create these commercials here, I know I can do it on my own. So it was more of I feel like I've already connected with a lot of people, and I did make a lot of like relationships there, with like gaffers that would come on board, other DPs. So when I left, they were like, I was able to connect with them. Like, hey man, I left. If you need any help, I'll help you out on any project, whatever. And they've all helped me out a ton. So I'm super grateful for everyone that's hired me.
I'm noticing that you're saying that a lot of the people that you used to work with in the agency keep hiring you back and over. So clearly, relationships has a huge role to it, and also being a good sport on the job, having great work ethic. How important are maintaining those relationships,
dude? This is the thing, man. Like when you work on set, like I said, right, 10 hours, long days. We all want to go home at hour 8, hour 9.5, especially when you're hitting those long hours. The last thing you want is people complaining. I mean, I would bust jokes here and there, but whatever. We're all laughing. It's fun. But it's like being on set, the way you're going to get a call back is, especially on a smaller set, is being like as helpful as you can. You see someone struggling with something, you go and you help them. Someone says, hey, we're out of stingers. Oh, there's one right here. Let me get that for you. Hey, you need a sandbag. Let me grab that for you. Like having that personality, that mentality when you jump on, and I'd say any set, like medium or smaller, then it's like, this guy's good. Call him back. Because you're there, you're helping you. Cam op is moving the tripod. You help him lock in the legs. You just try to help out as much as you can to make everybody else's job easier. You're going to get called back. And that's like one thing that I noticed there. Like everyone that gets a call back, it's everyone that one has a great personality and two is like just helping and helping and helping.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good lesson to always have a strong work ethic and always have maintain a positive attitude. Like you said, like after 8 hours and you probably only had lunch at midday. It's easy to get grouchy and easy to bitch.
And hopefully you're getting like at least pizza or something. But sometimes they hook it up. Sometimes we're just like, oh, let's knock this out. And I want to mention that depends on the set too. If it's like a much bigger set and there's like people that work on bigger sets, then those people get weirded out if you're helping them out. This is where the weird stuff happens.
How so?
Well, I've had some shoots where I'm like, I was gaffer on one and my buddy who's DP, right? He brought me on to gaffer him. We had some people that we didn't know. They came on board to help us out. And my buddy's like, hey, you know what? Set the frame for me. I'm going to go take another shot in this other room. We had like 2 cameras with the other cam op. He's like, but you find me the frame. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm over there and I grab the tripod and the other guy's like, one of the guys that we hired, he's like, hey man, I'll take care of this. This is not your department. And I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like,
sure. I hate to like knock him, but I mean, he's in the right.
He's in the right. Yeah. And that's the thing where it's like, I come from a place where we all help out each other and it's just a smaller, and I say small shoot. I mean, these shoots were like 200K, man. Like they're bigger for San Diego, but not bigger in the biggest shoots, right? Like the most we worked was like 20-person crew at the most, right? Not like the 50, 60. Once you're in those, there's like a whole different ballpark. And right. I don't want to be on those sets unless I'm DP or.
Did you ever consider moving to LA?
I've thought about it, but I feel like LA is like a different vibe. I like my peeps here in
as
San
far
Diego.
as vibe, for sure. But I'm talking about work though.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I really have, but I want to try and grow here first. And I don't know where I'm heading, to be honest. Like I want to do more creative, more cinematography stuff, and it seems like LA is the way to go. But I feel like I'm more connected here now.
Yeah, but at the same time, like you're only 2 hours away to get to LA. Yeah. So I mean, you can still do your networking and whatnot.
I was just there yesterday. I mean, that shit was in LA. I mean, I drove like 5 hours in the day, but it worked out.
So as far as like production goes, what has been some of your favorite projects you've worked on those bigger sets? If you can name drop, feel free.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been on like Nike shoots. Like that's what we're saying.
You
earlier.
Just say you were with Google. I feel like they're like neck and neck. What do you mean?
So this is where the funny stuff is. Like, cause I was just telling my wife, I'm like, dude, I work with Google now on my website.
Yes, you can. And I've seen people that put that BS their website. Like I work with such and such and such. I'm like, fam, you were like a PA. But I guess you can technically say that.
So that's the thing. My wife's like, babe, you were hired by your jock, not by Google. And I'm like, I'm at Google taking photos. So,
I would put that in. I would put that.
But we worked on one where we had like an LED wall. So we went to Vegas. It's called View Studio, super dope place. And it was like, man, this was massive LED wall. So this was a Shady Rays commercial, just some sunglasses, and we wanted it to be like snow. So it was super cool. Working with that wall and everything is just insane. We didn't get the full capabilities of it because we ended up using stock footage. Just the whole point was having a bigger place where we could make it look like snow. And we ended up doing
it's hard to pull that off in Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was just the biggest part was the reflections on the glasses. We wanted it to look like snow, and we didn't want to. I mean, we did so many things on this. Shout out to like my director who came up with all these crazy concepts, but it worked out. It was sick. That was a fun one, and I mean, I don't know. Like I've been on a couple where like I wasn't like deep. I won one that I AC'd, and it was like a fashion one that was super dope. And we were just, like all in downtown and everywhere around here. Recently I did a fashion one. That one was really fun, but yeah, I don't know. I can't think of much really.
As far as going back to production, because you have so much experience, especially through the agency, what do you like more? Do you like bigger bands such as like a 10 to 15 man crew, or smaller run and gun style, like 1, 2, 3 man?
I would say it depends on the project, but definitely I love having as many hands as I can on set because it just makes your life easier.
And as far as let's say a documentary, I mean, you're obviously have the creative control on it since it's your project, your baby. But again, you rather have like someone to shape lights for you and whatnot, so you don't have to deal with all that. Focus on the technicalities, or
I would like to have that. I haven't had that, so I'm like doing
every day.
everything.
Money talks.
Yeah, I mean, the minute I have the budget, I'd love to hire a sound guy. So that's my last worry. And then I'd love to get a gaffer and just tell him what I want, and he handles that while I'm talking to talent and getting camera ready.
Who inspires you right now?
Oh man, I don't know, man. I like I've been listening to like Louis Potts. Louis Potts is dope. And then sometimes I just go on Vimeo and watch like the staff picks. Those are pretty sick. They always have some really good work there.
I always forget Vimeo exists, but I guess it exists for a reason for individuals like you, cinematographers.
Look at the work there, man. This is really good.
And plus the quality is even more and whatnot.
Dude, it is sick, man. I like Vimeo. Vimeo's dope, man. You get to find some really cool spots there. But yeah, like Mark Bones, a huge inspiration, I'd say. Like his work is really nice. Carlos Stigliano, he has really good work as well. And these are the only people I can kind of name at the top of my head because from YouTube. They're on YouTube, right?
What about film directors?
I don't really follow a ton of film directors. I know I'm always trying to slide into people's DMs too. Like that's kind of how this works. Hey,
Christopher Nolan, I'll AC for you.
No, yeah, right. No, funny enough, who's this guy? I was talking to a DP once, and he shot like a bunch of like big stuff, and he replied to my messages. It sucks I can't even think of the name right now. But super cool guy. Like I was like, dude,
you got his attention.
How did you light this? And he told me exactly how his process goes and how he meters the light for it.
Oh, he actually gave you a full breakdown of whatever question you asked.
Yeah.
Oh, so I thought he just like double tapped like. But he actually responded.
We had a conversation, like 3 messages, and then
that's still sick.
Yeah, it was sick, man. I appreciate it, and one day I'm gonna work with him. Hopefully, we'll see.
Shouts to whoever that guy was. I can't remember the name, so good luck.
Yeah, gosh, who was it? I have it on my deal. I just messaged him the other day too, and he replied. I was like, man,
you still don't know his name.
Okay, hold up.
We gotta shot this guy out, man, because he might see this. Who knows, man?
Imagine. Probably be like. I know. Armando Salas, ASC.
And what does he specialize in? What kind of work?
He does a lot of it's cinematography and narrative work, and he does these very like moody vignettes. Like he shot. Have you seen it was this show with Chris Pratt, and it was shot here in San Diego.
Chris Pratt.
And he does like it's like a military.
Yes, I did see it. I know. It's on Amazon. I don't know the name of it, but I know it's on Amazon.
I saw that thing in like
so good.
2 days, if any.
So good.
That cinematographer, the guy that lit that, camera op, he told me how he did it. Jeez. And I was like, hell yeah.
Have you implemented that to your work?
Yeah, I was trying to do it. Funny enough, like I had a light meter, and sometimes I would pull it out, but half the time I'm rushing. But on my previous shoot that I was on this week, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna meter this thing because I was gaffing. So I like metered everything. I'm like, wow, I am always gonna use this thing now. It's just so much easier to like keep it consistent, to keep notes. And then I wasn't gonna be there on the last day because I was already booked on another shoot. I didn't have to, but I'm like, man, I could even pass him notes. Like, this is where everything's at.
And can you explain that in layman's terms? Like, I understand why, but like, what do you get out of like metering the light? Can't you just use your camera, look at the monitor, look at the meter in the actual camera itself?
No.
Is this a little bit more accurate, or?
Yeah. So like when you use a camera monitor, like to meter the metering on cameras, I can't remember what the term. It's valuative or some shit, but it like looks at your whole scene and it tells you what's
it's like
exposed.
I forget what the term is.
There's a term. Yeah. You can also change it for like a spot
exactly.
meter and all that,
the darks or whatever.
But ideally, at the very bare minimum, you'd want an external monitor that you can turn false color, because sometimes you can look at the skin and you might think it looks good, but it's a little overexposed, or you have a lamp and it's reading red, but you're like, oh, I mean, I'm metering good, but it's gonna be white.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's an orange light, it's gonna look white because it's overexposed, or something's under, it's gonna look purple, or depending on the false colors. So that's like the right way to kind of expose. The way I like to expose is having false colors, so I can see what my ratings are on skin and stuff. And the light meter helps me to keep like the same ratio. And by ratios, like, you have your key, you have your fill. I hate using two lights. I use a key and then I'll use a bounce for a softer fill. That's how I'd like to run it.
Interesting.
Because I don't want to get double shadows.
Yeah.
And that's like like Deacon's thing. So he mentions that, and I'm like, all right, I gotta never get double shadows now.
It'll be cheaper in the budget because you're only using one light and a bounce, so it shouldn't cost too much.
100%, bro, and it's much easier. But so I meter the face, right? So like the face, the key is giving me like an F4. All right. So then I meter this side, and this side's giving me a 2/8, and it's like, all right, cool. There is a difference. There's a one-stop difference from my key to my fill. So now I just keep that the whole time. So when I light it, I don't just go by eye. I will meter it. Okay, F4. If it's like, F5 or 5.6, whatever, I'm like, okay, it's too bright. Lower it down. And that's how you kind of like work it to get the same metering. But then you can also do that since it has this metering where you can look at the reflections. I can look at whatever's in the background and see what that's metering.
Jeez, I feel like I'm learning so much. I thought I knew a lot, but dude
I'm
the
learning on that.
Cinematography aspect, as far as like commercials and films and docs, like that is just another level, man.
Dude, there's so much. Like I feel like there's so much to learn too. Like I like that alone. That was like the first commercial that I do it, and I'm like, I understand it now. I get why people meter things.
Yeah, I'm more of a visual learner, so if you were to actually show me, and like, I get it.
But dude. I mean, like, so a meter will measure you. I think they call it 18% gray, which in the IRE value is 50%. So you're getting like a 50 IRE. Skin tones will range between like 55 to like 65-ish. I don't know if you've heard of that in IRE value. So that's kind of where you want your skin tones, depending what skin it is. If it's darker skin,
is it different?
Right, darker skin is a little darker. And I've even heard that even if you're like from India, the skin will give different tones.
Damn.
Like and I learned this from a gaffer. He said they would put like a minus green. I think it was minus green or minus pink. I can't remember, because it would give off more of a green tint.
Right.
And this goes way back to like camera manufacturers from the very beginning with Kodak. If you look at how they used to look at skin, they only looked at white skin, really, right? Like Caucasian skin.
Makes
tones.
sense.
Yeah, but there's so much in all that stuff, but.
I feel like I'm in a Gerald Dunn video right now. Just
Gerald,
knowing those.
No, that guy's another level, dude. Definitely not.
Speaking of Gerald Dunn and YouTube, how has the YouTube channel been for you, man? I've noticed that you have quite a number of subscriptions, man. And it's like,
so YouTube was like my route to learning video. And I've left the videos there because I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave them. Like, you go to my first videos, you'll see how bad I talk, how bad my light is.
How long ago is this? I didn't go that deep.
I think I always say 3 years, but
okay.
I keep saying 3 years. I think
it's
been 5 though.
Okay,
I keep saying 3 though.
It's when someone always asks me, how long have you been filming? And I always say 3 to 4. And I'm like, and then I do the math. I'm like, no, it's been like 7 years. Shit,
yeah,
like,
same thing, man. I got to sit down one day and really get it, But so I started YouTube because, like I mentioned, that guy, I used to do these street photo vlogs. So I would put on a GoPro, film downtown as I did street photography. I did that a lot, and it was really fun. I haven't done it in a minute, but that got me to start it on YouTube and have a purpose and a video to edit. So YouTube itself obviously would be great if it grows more and I'm able to build a bigger community and make an income from it. I mean, let's be real. Like, if you could get that income, it would just help.
I still can't even monetize my channel yet, and I've had it for so long.
Dude, you'll get there, bro. You'll get there. I'm sorry. You'll get a really good video. So it's been good, but now I kind of like, since I'm like freelancing and I have to live off of this, I have to make money. So what I'm trying to do now with my recent videos is I'm trying to make something that works both for teaching people and also makes me show my experience, and I can put on my website and I can share, and I know it'll help me get more work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been doing with it.
One of the videos that I saw recently on your channel was, and again, I got to give you the props for being transparent. And you mentioned it just now earlier when you talked about how much you make per specific roles. I'm like, damn, like I've seen people say how much I make, but in reality, they give you ballpark numbers. You're like, nah, this is my number right here for this specific role, and this is my number for this specific role. I was like, damn, homie's giving it up.
I made it, and I was like, I don't know if I should make this thing. I feel like if a client hits me up with this, because I do, that's like my base. But like if I'm traveling, or if Nike hits me up, I'm not going to charge them the same. You know what I mean? And like people might be like, yo, why would you do that? And they're like, well, Nike's going to get more out of it, right? Nike's a bigger client. So yeah, but that is my range. That is pretty much like, I was just on a shoe where I charge $600 per day to gaff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And then to gaff, that specifically means rigging up lights and...
Gaffing means I show up and you guys have lights for me to setup.
Oh, you literally just do the Legos and
I don't bring anything. I show
Yeah.
up. I mean, yeah, I have my toolkit that I like to carry with me, like my meter, and I have I call it, it's an AKS case, like all kinds of shit. But it's mainly for like cam op, for like whatever role I get, but I always bring it. It has like extra pieces for cameras and stuff that always come handy. So yeah, I bring that. That's the only thing I bring. But yeah, gaffing means I show up. Technically, there should be a DP that tells me what he wants, and I tell him how we can probably achieve it, and then we discuss what's the best way.
Have you ever faced a challenge where a director is asking for a specific look, but in reality it's like, bro, like we can't do this.
And
they're like, figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily figure it out, but I will say, yeah, all the time that there's always something. No production ever goes super smooth. Even, I mean, ideally we'd want pre-production, right? I'd be in those calls. What are we shooting in a house? How many windows are there? Are we doing night? Do we have to black out every windows? Do we want the sun poking through the windows, right? Like, if
million questions. Jeez.
Those are the things we have to nail down before we even
show up.
Because if we need like 1200 Ds, right? Is there power? Where are we going to power these from? Like, there's all these things that come down, which those aren't overkill, but regardless, we have to have those lights available and on set. That day of. The day of, I'd be like, well, I wish I had a 1200. Now this is all we can do.
Is there a specific scene or specific shot of you gaffing something that's like, damn, this was sick. I can't believe I made that happen. Because I feel like you got to think on the fly. It's like, all right, logistically, I got to put this rail and do this. Yeah, I can't even, I don't even know.
Dude, all of it. Yeah, 100%. It happens a couple shots in a day, I'd say, especially when I have time to light. Because sometimes it's like, we're behind on script. You guys got 15 minutes to light this.
Yeah, production never goes according to plan, man. Never. You're always running behind. When I used to be on little sets like that, like where I was running late all the time.
I did a story of this one that I shot on the spot that I did this week. It was really cool because it was like a lab and it was green walls, like brick walls. So the idea wasn't too clear. It was kind of vague. Like I had some playroom. So yeah, that was one that was really fun. Like I lit that. I'm like, this is sick. Like I'm proud of this one because, I pulled out like my C clamps to rig to the top of a set. Had like 2 spotlights going and then some like slashes going in the back with some Fresnels, and it was just cool, man. It was fun.
Nice. Do you ever see yourself producing a short film?
Yeah, 100%. I'm actually about to do one. I'm DPing this one actually.
Oh, so you have like scripts and all that good stuff, story at least in your brain.
I have a couple that I want to do, but I never really take the steps to make them.
Why not?
I don't know. I end up just going back to work or just going on TikTok, I guess. I gotta really get on it, man. Like these are the times, right? The only times I've really seen growth in my life is when I get in these uncomfortable situations. Like I was so uncomfortable to even go work that first day at Raindrop and operate a red, right? And now I'm really comfortable around it. But now like I'm comfortable where I'm at. But I was like, I want to be shooting movies. I want to be shooting like real bigger documentaries. Like, and the only way I'm going to get there is by making them. So I have to do it. Like,
do you think it's fear?
I don't know. I think it might be fear. Like it's just, or feeling like it won't even get anywhere. I think that's like the biggest one. Like,
yeah. Cause I mentioned that I was also working on a couple pieces myself, and I catch myself wanting to do client work or even go do the dishes just to avoid my own passion projects, because I don't know what it is that's stopping me from wanting to do it. Like, and I keep thinking, just having this conversation, I'm like, damn, maybe it's fear. Like, what the fuck?
I think that would be it, man. Like, I guess fear of like, it's not going to work or it's not going to be good or
it's going to be pointless or
it won't get you anywhere. Maybe.
No, I mean, it's hard for me to tell you like, oh man, you should do it. You should pursue it. Cause I haven't done it myself too, but it's like, we should do it, man. Like
that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, like making content is what gets you more work and gets you seen. Like I saw the film I made. I've been submitting it to film festivals. I've done a couple, but man, you got to pay to submit films. It's so annoying.
Nothing's free.
Yeah. So
only YouTube is free.
Right.
To an extent.
To an extent. And all the hours, man, I've put into this. But like, so one thing that I am trying to do is I'm trying to like, okay, I don't really want to produce, but I want a DP. I want a cam up. I want to direct the lighting. So I've done some TikToks where I'm like, hey, if you got a short film, anything, reach out to me. And nothing came about it till recently that someone reached out to me. They're like, hey, I got a script. You want to film it? And then we got into talking. He's like, yeah, I want to put it in film festivals. I want to do all this. I'm like, okay, if you're doing that, I'm in, dude. I'm not even going to make a dime, bro. I'm bringing all my gear. I'm going to light this. I'm going to cam up this. I might even edit it. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I want to be seen because I've heard some stories of people that were shooting commercials, and because of a short film that they got in a festival, you know, the right person saw it, and next thing you know, you're on a much bigger set DPing.
Yeah. The one person that I could think of as far as like putting yourself out there, putting your work and passion projects ahead of anything else is Danny Gravetz, man. Yeah. He produced his own feature film by putting his own content on YouTube. Finally, the right eye saw it and were willing to invest their money into producing this feature film. And now he's fucking still working on passion projects and more films. It's like, damn, like.
Well, I think he's like a living concept, like proof of concept that YouTube is a good route. I mean, he built his audience on YouTube, and now it's like, well, I want to make a film. I was like, well, yeah, great. Here's my money. Like, you've taught me so much. Like, I mean, his Kickstarter went like crazy, right? When he did that, like.
I remember watching him 6 years ago when he was just making little running gun music videos, and this seeing his growth, it's like, fuck, like it's all about consistently pushing your work out there for the masses. And as long as you execute on your end, I know you can't really control who sees your work, but dude, all it takes is one pair of eyes. You'd be like, yo, and they see your catalog, like, I trust this person. I'm going to invest a few $1,000s on his next project or whatever.
Dude, and it's like weird, man, because it's like I have all these friends and I always tell people, dude, make YouTube videos, make TikTok videos. And that sometimes I don't do them because I'm just busy, right? But the minute I'm free, like today is my day off technically. I got to catch up on editing. If I don't get to it today, next week for sure, I don't have work. I'm just going to make content. That's what I do. Like, I'm good for the month. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not worried about money right now. I'm going to make content. But like, it's the more you create, people kind of look at you different, and it's like, oh, I want to do that. And it's just weird. Like I noticed that like people want to work with you. People will reach out to you. People are like, I want to do that too, you know? And just like the people you connect with are different. And rather than going on set, sometimes you go on set, some people are just salty, man. Like they just hate life. And it's like, dude.
Or too cool for school.
Yeah. Like you got the coolest career ever. Like chill out. Like, you know, but.
I mean, this goes back to what you just said right now. Like I saw you through a mutual friend and I saw your cataloging, you're putting educational content. And I'm like, oh shit. I like people that post content because that shit is so, I understand how hard it is to make content and consistently post good. And you're posting quality stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna reach out to this guy. Let's see if he's down to do a podcast. Like, I love your work ethic so far, and you seem like a chill individual because just seeing your old content, you throw your personality out there. Yeah. And to me, I'm like, all right, this guy seems pretty legit and chill.
Dude, that's like, it's been so hard. Like like being kind of you in front of a camera, it's like the hardest thing I feel like.
And that's like the key, I think, is literally just being yourself. Don't be anyone else. Keep it chill. I've had my doubts on TikTok, and people still like bash on TikTok for filmmaking side, right? But that's one thing about the cinematography world, which I enjoy, but they're very fucking pretentious. Some of
them. I'm not one of those for sure.
No, I know you're not. I mean, I'm sitting with you, but
I've been on those sets, so they're just like talking.
They talk down. I'm like, bro, let people be. Like, it's not really bothering you. He's not taking coins off your pocket. Like, why are you just being a fucking hater?
But, dude, I've had like 2 really good clients off of TikTok. Like, one of them is like in gaming, bro. Like gaming, like I mean, they're super cool. Our shoot went well, so there's a chance that I might get. I feel like I'm gonna get more work from them. But dude, that's so cool. Like I'd love to get connected and be in the actual like the esports that they have for games. Like that's a good connection for me that could potentially lead me there. That'd be really fun. I got that through TikTok. That's crazy. And then I met another Hispanic like creator, Diego de Alba, super cool guy. And he's like, dude, he's hustling so much. And I love talking to this fool too, because he's like, he gets me in that mindset, like, dude, we got to make content. Yeah. Dude, and we finally connected. We shot some music videos, like, I don't know, like last month probably already. Went to Bakersfield, met up with him. And it's like, dude, this is cool. You're like the same guy on TikTok. And then in person, we already had a couple phone calls and stuff and just talk, you know, business and what we're doing and how we can grow, whatever. And I love that because that's like, I only got that from posting on TikTok.
Nice.
I wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, there's this. I ran into this kid's YouTube channel, and he does corporate style work that I love to do. And his vlogs are literally just cell phone footage. Homie owns a FX6, FX3.
Is he in Florida?
Yes, David Mortfield.
I've been watching his stuff. Yeah,
dude,
he's legit. I like his stuff.
I landed on his freaking channel on accident through the algorithms, and I've been binging his entire catalog. I've never done it to any other YouTuber that I could think of, like from head to toe, just watching all of their freaking content.
Yeah.
And it's so educational, and it's so like his personality is so chill too.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
and he's even said like through YouTube, I've literally had people hire me just because of my YouTube channel. Like they see my BTS, they see that I'm knowledgeable about what I do. They see that I constantly work and I know what the hell I'm doing. And I've been hired to fly around the country to do corporate work. I'm like, dude, that is...
Dude, like, and he's like a prime example. Like, he's working the corporate ladder, like, you know, in that space. Like, he was talking about working with like AOD and doing interviews for them. Like, bro, that's sick.
And he also
That's
got a kickback
stuff.
for like he's generated like $24,000 for AOD, and then he got 10% of it. So that's like $2,400 right there. Yeah, that's a... I've never met anyone who's actually seen that. He's such a small channel. It's like 2,000 subscribers, I think.
He also uses Production Hub. Which,
yes.
When I
that was the first time I heard about it.
Dude, when I left the agency, my director, Chris Francis, one of my directors, he gave me his tips because he used to freelance DP, and he was like, dude, get on that app. And I'm like, all right. So I paid.
You gotta pay for it, like $7.
He told me, he's like, you gotta pay for it. I'm like, all right, fine. I paid for like the cheapest one was like, I think it was like $300. I paid for a couple months.
Okay.
And it was like the last month. I'm like, man, this thing sucks. I never get the work. But I was bidding much higher. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm gonna bid like the rates that I showed on YouTube, right? Like the 600 day rates ish. And I started bidding those, and I started getting work. And I've gotten like two or three really good clients from there that I've gotten. One was really good. It was like this crazy shoot with like Navy SEALs. I guess that one was a fun shoot. There was like a training for Navy SEALs, but for like corporate people. So it was like a corporate retreat. Dude, we went through like hiking basically through the mountains where there's no trail. I'm rolling my FX6 handheld, like, and I can't remember if I had my easy rig. I think I left it because he's like, you're not gonna be able to make it through with that. And I'm like, all right, cool. But it's like pitch black, man. It was a crazy shoot. But anyways, that's another story. I got that client through Production Hub, and they paid me very well. And then so I signed up for like a whole year, and they gave me like a discount. So Production Hub is sick.
So it's worth it. I even thought of like flirting with the idea of getting Production Hub.
I would try it out.
Yeah.
I would at least try it out. But I have an agency that I got from there that I've worked with before, repeat client, and then the other one, which was like that oneer for the Navy SEALs shoot, that was really dope. They paid me a good rate. I feel like I had another one. I can't. Oh, I had one, but it was like fell through. It was gonna be stills in like Texas for like. It was just kind of unprofessional from their part. I
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
It was cool.
But it does work. It worked out. I mean,
it's worked out. Like at least the clients that I've spoken with. Like I actually, this one was a really good one. Had a call from one client, and their budget was great for like a 3-day shoot. We're still potentially in the talks, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
That would be.
But
like,
at least you got your foot in the door, which you have your name out there. You know, like even if it doesn't work out for this specific one, the next one.
Dude, like that's the other pro of like the agency life, because I got to do so much work that my reel has nice, bright and airy commercials that, you know, had set design, had good talent, had really cool stuff. Like they look like quality work.
Mm-hmm. That's a great way of doing it. Damn, man. That's like I feel shit. Like that should encourage you to keep posting.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Even today I thought about like doing it his style, like because I'm doing a corporate event right now, and I'm like, should I take my phone out? And I'm like, dude, do I really want to do that? Like, I stop myself a lot too. I stop myself all the time. Like, do I really want to be that guy? But it's like, hey man, it's like at the same time I don't want to copy. I don't know, man. Just
I did one because I was watching him and I'm like, man, this is so much easier.
He makes it so easy.
And he films on his iPhone.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have a lot of vertical stuff. Sometimes I shoot, and I did like a recap. I did it like 3 months ago. I've been meaning to do another one, but trying to kind of repurpose that so I don't have to be doing a ton of stuff. Cause it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, man, I can make something look like $1 million, but it's going to take me like an hour to do it. And
and I want to concentrate on the shoot itself, not on my specific vlog.
Yeah, exactly. So I like now I'm hoping like my next projects, I've been looking into this or thinking about this more seriously about bringing someone just for BTS.
Yeah.
Because just having that on my website and having more content to post, like that's pretty much where more work comes from.
Yeah. BTS is so crucial in today's world with social media. It does gets you a little clouded, and whether you're having clients or not, like it just makes you look like you're booked and busy, and people like working with people that are booked and busy.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know.
All right, man, as we're wrapping up, I don't want to take too much time out of your day off. Is there any tips that you could give to any creators out there trying to get into the corporate or the documentary space, whether it's going on an agency or going the freelance world, anything you could think of?
I would say like just create, no matter what, create and connect. Because what has helped me out a ton is I'm active on Instagram and I follow people and I look at their work and I've built those relationships and now I work with those people. So it's like you really have to put yourself out there. No matter what, like even if your work sucks, even if you can't talk to a camera, you're going to get better. And the only way getting better is creating and creating and creating. And there'll be a point where people notice it and you'll be connecting with people. I mean, I know Adrian because I DM'd him before I joined Raindrop. And I was like, dude, let me get on one of your sets, bro. Let me PA, whatever. And then we met up for coffee and all that. And then I got the job at Raindrop like a week later. And I'm like, you know what, dude? I can't make it. I'm so sorry. But we still kept shooting and we'd hang out. So it was like that itself was me already getting the foot in the door in the filmmaking community. So if anything, just put yourself out there, reach out to everyone that's in the space, try to work there and just create and create and create. Because the more you create, the more people get to see you and potentially get you work.
Love that, man. Love that. Well, Jesus, it's been an honor having you in the podcast, man. If you guys want to connect with Jesus, his Instagram will be linked in the description. Feel free to tap in, send him a DM, say what's up, say you came from the Potter. And Jesus, thanks a lot, man.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. This was dope.
We'll catch you guys later. Peace.